Hello and welcome to this Elevate webinar with Runa Magnusdottir. It's a pleasure to introduce you, Runa, because I just met you for a couple of weeks ago in Iceland, and you are a really heart-connected woman, and I was so happy to meet someone who will really want to help us to see how we can improve Elevate to be a better conference. And you are also one of the biggest on branding in Europe and the biggest speaker on branding in Europe. So it's a pleasure to introduce you, and I want you to just go on and talk more about yourself. So thank you, Runa.
Well, thank you, Petter. Wow, being on in a group of Elevate Everything people and everything that is around that brand is just such an honor for me. So I am thrilled to be part of your webinar series and thrilled to be part of the whole thing that you're doing with elevating people and taking them to the next level in their business and in their lives. So Petter, just thank you for your gift that you're sharing to the world. And hello everyone. I think there might be a good way to start this webinar simply by telling you a little bit when I was preparing for it, what was going on in my mind. I was thinking about, okay, now I have the opportunity to talk to people in Scandinavia about a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. And I know this is a topic that I can basically talk about forever. So I really had to focus, and I really had to find something that was tangible, that was valuable, something that you could really take away with you after the time that we were spent together. So I thought to myself, okay, Runa, focus, be clear, what is it? And after a long thought, well, maybe it wasn't that long, but anyway, I decided on 3 points. What I want to go over with you today, I briefly want to go why I think branding is important and why personal branding is specifically important for all of us today and in the marketplace today, and how powerful it really is to see more of authentic brands in the marketplace. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to give you a little insight into my 5-step personal branding success module. Unfortunately, I can't teach you the whole thing in depth on this one webinar, but I will definitely be teaching more around the most important topic there during when I'm on stage at the Elevate event in November 1st, I believe I am. And number three, I also want to share with you what I call the most important thing to think about when it comes to branding. And it doesn't matter if I'm talking about the brand called you or your business. It's basically that one core thing that I've seen in my work is really the thing when we start to realize how much we can actually control by just being aware of that one little tiny thing. It really can transform your life. So a big thing to say, but let's just start with it and see how well I can go on with this whole thing. Why am I passionate about branding? And how is that linked to this slide that says the brand called Iceland? Well, I am Icelandic. I'm born and raised in Iceland. And when I say to people that I am Icelandic, there is something that pops immediately up in their minds. There is something that they see or think that I am the moment that I tell them I am Icelandic. So already by just saying where I come from, I'm giving people certain image about who I am. Another thing why branding is so important for me, and Iceland is linked to that, is that I actually started to really realize myself the importance of self-branding and branding myself and the whole concept of branding when my country collapsed back in 2008. And we as Icelanders no longer knew what we stood for, what we thought we stood for, which was a lot of really around money and financial things. That basically was no longer the case. And we had to, at that point, we really had to, as nation, to figure out, who are we? What is it that we stand for? Who are we authentically? What are our strengths? What are our attributes? What are the things that we are already today, and what are the things that we want other people to see and feel and experience when they are around anything that has to do with Iceland? So Iceland, and for me being Icelandic and the brand called Iceland, is all linked, and it's from that source that just discovering that and being in that environment back in 2008 is the fact that I'm really passionate to help people worldwide to identify what is it that makes them unique, what is it that differentiates them from all the others out there. And I call it their X factor. You could call it uniqueness or your oomph or whatever, but my saying is your X factor, the thing that makes you different from all the others. And so let's dig in and go a little bit further into this. First of all, maybe I should introduce myself a little bit. Who is the brand called Runa? Well, I often say that, and my shortest elevator pitch is often that I'm a certified human firebug. That normally tells people what, if you think about it, what does a certified human firebug mean to you, if you think about it? When I ask people this question, what do you see? What do you feel? They say, well, tells me that you are someone who is passionate. You are someone who is lighting people's fire. You're someone who is getting out there, is out there, outgoing, extrovert, all of these things that pops up in people's minds when I tell this one short sentence, who am I? I could go on and say I have this degree or that degree or whatever, but really it tells them what sort of a person am I when I say that I'm a certified human firebug. I am a lifetime entrepreneur. I've been so fortunate to have the opportunity to build several businesses, and ever since 2007, where I basically I sold my wholesale business, I had the opportunity to reinvigorate who I was, what it was that I really wanted to get out of this life, and from that point I have then been evolving into the branding area, and today my job is to help professionals to identify that X factor and to brand them. So take it more than not just the finding it, but really taking it out there in the world and communicating it so that they can really shine. I'm an author of an upcoming book that I'm really excited about and I'll tell you probably more about, which, by the way, has the name Branding Your X Factor. Probably everyone is really surprised about that one. But in theory, what I absolutely love to do is the things that I'm doing, and that is to share my knowledge, empower people to identify who they authentically are, and bring more authentic leadership and bring more reality, real thing, the thing that we all love and want to be around, that authentic you. That's what I'm all about. So let's then think about, what is a brand? What is really a brand? And let me ask you, and when you think about a brand, what pops up in your mind? When I ask this question worldwide, the most common answer is people start to talk about those big brands. They talk about iPhone, Apple, they talk about Coca-Cola, IBM, they talk about Google. And That's right. All of these brands are brands for sure. But what is it that makes them a brand, if you think about it? What is it that makes brand a brand? And here's what I often see people talk about and think about, is that it is something, a good and strong brand is a brand that really clearly differentiates them from the rest of their competitors. It's something that instantly tells people who they are, what they stand for, why you should go and purchase their products or their services. It tells their customers instantly what they do and as well what they will never do. So there's a clarity there around the brand. And it's the whole concept of living and feeling and experiencing that product or that service, whatever it is that we are selling. And when it comes to us as individuals, it's basically everything fits there and is the same. It's about how do people see us, how do people experience us. It's about what do people say about us. It's about everything basically that we do on a daily basis that makes us who we are. And now often people get scared when I start to say this, because wow, you mean people are looking out and following me and seeing who I am and making judgments? Well, yes, that's how it is. And a common misknowledge about branding, when I hear people are saying, oh, I'm really well branded, I have my logo, I have my website, I have my business card ready and all of that, and I say, well, that's great, but that's only part of your brand. In order for your logo, your website, your business card, and everything to work, it has to have a certain consistency. It has to have certain theme. It has to be all aligned with you as a person when it comes to branding you and your personal brand. And personal branding is absolutely not just for celebrities, because that's another myth that I hear very often. When people say, oh, I don't need any personal branding, I'm not aiming to be famous. Well, guess what? You already have something that people are talking about, whether you like it or not. So being clear on those core things that I started off talking about is therefore so vitally, vitally important. Yes, let's go to the next one, because it's a whole lot more than just that. When I say you are a brand, I'm referring to this very simple marketing fact called people buy from other people they know, they like, and they trust. And if you are someone who is offering a service or a product, I bet that your clients are not only coming to you because of an advert that you put somewhere or a post that you placed on Facebook. It's often, and most often, it's related to someone who referred to you or someone that has talked about you. And that's how you get referrals, and that's how the word of mouth starts to spread around. The fact of the matter is, if I say something to my friends that I like a certain book, or I like a certain product, or I'm fond of, I want to buy the new iPhone 6 or whatever it is, the likelihood is if they trust my judgment, they are going to look at it themselves, because they know who I am, they know what it is that I stand for, and that's why they trust that I'm going to go and do the same. So when we are really clear as individuals of what it is that we stand for, where are we going, what is it that people should come to us for, that's when branding and your brand really starts to shine, and you're getting return on your investment for your personal brand. So I said this a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to emphasize on it once more regarding what is a brand. It is about who you are. It is about who you want to be. And here's a slightly difference between who you are and who you want to be. And it is, most importantly, it is how other people perceive you. Yeah, might sound really, really just almost painful to hear that. But it's like Jeff Bezos said, the founder of Amazon. He said, personal brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. So think about it. When you're not in the room, what are other people saying? What are they commenting about? And just picture this. It's a room full of people in your company or in your environment or wherever you are situated. A certain project, they have certain project in their hand and they need an expert to do something for that product. So what do? The common thing is when a group of people they are working together and they need someone to solve their problem. The thing starts to move around and they start to say, so, okay, do you know anyone who can do this, that you trust to do this? And the likelihood is, if you're a strong brand, if you have been branding yourself as the expert in that field, your name is going to pop up. So if you know really clearly what it is that when you want other people to come to you and talk to you, the likelihood is that's what's going to pop up. Just like when I talk about those big brands, that they are likely to come up in your mind when we think about their products and their services. And the main thing here, and that's basically what I've seen, that is the most important thing to think about when we're building our brand. And that's actually related to what Maya Angelou said. And I really, really honor these words. Because she talks about, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's that one thing that I talked about in the beginning. When you start to really understand the power of the feeling that you leave behind in other people's mindsets and the control that you have giving that feeling away, that's when poof, magic begins. That's when you start to be in control. So knowing in the beginning of a day, or before you go into the next meeting, or before you start to talk to someone, think about the feeling you want to leave behind in that person's mindset. If that's the feeling that it's authentically you and is the feeling that you want to stand for, then chances are that's exactly what those people really feel, and they will remember that. And normally when I'm on stage, I will share some inspiring stories exactly about this thing, because I've noticed it and I'm a sucker for this. And I notice this day in and day out, and I'm constantly thinking about what feeling other people are giving me, and at the same time, what feeling am I doing? And why is it important for me to give that feeling away from me so that it becomes the brand that I want to be known for? Hopefully you get that picture. So I promised to talk about the 5 steps to my personal branding success module, and to tell you a little bit about what I was thinking about and how this whole steps came to be. It really came to be from my work for the past 6 years in this field, that I've seen that is a certain thing that there's a certain like ground things that really are necessary to work on in order for all the rest to follow. And these 5 steps that I've created are the, if people can follow it, or people can actually start to both follow it and as well look at it as, okay, where are my strengths in these 5 steps, and out of those 5 steps, where do I need to look a little bit further into and work on? Because all of these steps is something that you can work on instantly if you have the desire there. So I'm going to go to the first step, and the first step in the 5-step module is clarity. And the first step, clarity, is the most important thing. And the more I see this, the more I believe in this. When we are super clear on who we are, where we're going, what is it that lights our passion, what are our values, what are our purpose in life, when we are really clear on these things, those fundamental things, we can really start to work on the brand, and we can really start to make that brand shine and become super well known in their field and as the expert in that field. Step number 2 out of the 5, when you have clarity, when you know those things, and here's the beauty, the step number 2 is that it will give you confidence. It will, when you know your core elements, it will give you confidence. It will give you a platform, a solid platform that you can stand on. When you know what it is that you stand for, you can stand. It's more easier for you to stand by yourself. It's more easier for you to be true to yourself, to value your uniqueness, and to go from the place that you know that whenever whatever decision you're making that from that place. You're not doing that because it's handy today. You're doing it because it's meaningful and you know it. So confidence comes from this clarity. The third one, communicate. I think that most of us find it slightly difficult to talk about what we're doing without feeling or having that fear in the back of our mind, thinking, am I now coming across as being cocky? And I'm now coming across as being just a person that is promoting without any ethics. So knowing how to communicate from the place of this is what I'm passionate about. This is a thing that I feel it is my purpose. It instantly gives you, you're coming from the place then that it gives you the confidence and that place that you can communicate it with confidence and clarity. And when you think about people who somehow can talk about themselves and talk about their accomplishments without, really by being just simply authentic about it and real about it, it comes across as just real thing. It doesn't come across as being tacky or anything of those things that most of us don't want to be known for. It really comes as being real. And I often think about our singer here in Iceland. That is probably the best personal brand in the world, Björk, that many of you probably know of. Björk comes from this place that you don't necessarily have to like her music or anything that she's doing, but see the way that she does it, it's just so real, it's just so authentic that you start to listen and you start to just accept her as she is. So it brings you and it gives you a valuable place as a leader, as someone who is and has the authority to speak. And this comes from a totally different place than what we are used to when we talk about communicating. We see promotion or something that is tacky. So I'm not talking about that. Step number 4, consistency. Everything that we are doing needs to have consistency in it. If it isn't, it becomes a little bit blurry for our network. And they don't really know what it is that we're doing. They don't really know when they should refer you, for what task, in which case. So consistency in our messaging, and consistency in our colors that we're using, our fonts that we're using, and basically everything that we're doing. If we're consistent in it, when the time comes that anyone in our network either needs our products or services, or they know of someone who needs them, so they refer us to someone, that's when consistency clicks in. And the minute we're doing something that isn't consistent, it is one thing here and another thing there, and people who are maybe not exactly following us, but they're kind of like following us just on the corner of their eye, we fall off. We fall off the bus, and they will not mention us because they're not quite sure what it is that we are all about. So being consistent there, and then that has to do with how are you using the social media, how are you using everything that you're doing with any marketing, or how are you simply just coming across when you're talking to your friends. It's all about consistency. The stronger, and the better you are there, the stronger your brand is. And the 5th one, to build a really successful personal brand, and that's to be committed. Commitment to take that vision that I talked about in step number 1 for clarity. Commitment to take that vision where you want to be, where you want to position yourself, and stay committed there is crucial for you. And I know it doesn't matter who you are, or where we are, or where in our life we are situated. Life comes in ups and downs, and there are days where we really feel we're in our flow and it's so easy to be committed, and then there are other days that nothing seems to be happening, and that's when we really need to be committed. So having that clear plan, knowing what you stand for, communicating it with confidence and clarity, be consistent in the things that matters the most to you, and committed to do whatever you can do to make that vision a reality. Boom, you got a powerful brand that's going to make a difference, that is going to be visible, that is going to be something people will talk about. So how does that sound as 5 steps to build a powerful brand? I have today with me a little gift that I want to share with you. Yes, I'm just about to launch my first book, Branding Your X Factors. How the secret to your success is already right in front of yours. And then you find out where it is, that success. And I'm offering you, if you're interested, to download the first 2 chapters. There's a URL that you can just step into and download it instantly and start to read it. This book is actually, I use this book, and this book is actually, I wanted to write it because I wanted to show people, just the ordinary person, how they can use and realize that they already have a special gift, and they already have a brand that has a purpose to shine in this world. And I wanted to write this book because I think that this world is screaming for authenticity and clarity. And I know that this business world is definitely screaming for that. I wholeheartedly believe that authentic leadership is the leadership that will give a head start to anyone who steps into that role. Building an authentic personal brand isn't something that happens overnight. We have to think about that we are already a brand. There is already something that pops up when other people think about us. That's the fact. What we can do, every single one of us, we can create our own path, our own vision of what it is that we want to be, what it is that we want to show, and what it is that we want other people to say about us when we're not in the room. So I encourage you to go take that URL, download your copy, and I'm really eager to hear what you think. So far, I'm pretty thrilled with the results. The book itself will be launched on Amazon on October 14th. So with that, I know that I am on Webinar Jam and it takes slightly, there is always a slight delay in everything, but I would actually, if there are any questions or anything that people would like to ask me at this point, to send me a question on the chat room, and I will be happy to answer as many as I possibly can. Just to end my presentation with you, I encourage you to connect with me. I am a connector. I love to hear from you. I love to see where you are in building your brand. What is it that you feel that you need the most help to gain that clarity that I talked about earlier, or wherever in the process you are. So connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm consistent as always, Runa Magnus, wherever you go. And be sure that whatever you do out there, make sure that you do that with purpose. Make sure that you do that with some happiness, some passion, and have fun while you build your own authentic personal brand. And do that with magic. So, Petter.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any questions?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
How do you different from if you're just a person living, working in a company? How do you different that from the company brand you're building? How can the company benefit from it, and how do you different it? Do you have any thoughts about it?
That's a great question. When you are working for a company and you are then expected to be representing the company brand and the things and the company values, obviously you have to be aligned with those values if you're really going to do it in an authentic way. The thing is, if you're not, chances are you are, number one, you're not going to enjoy it, and number two, people will feel that you are not exactly aligning yourself with that company brand. So actually, when you think about it, I think in many cases people, when they understand that they are not exactly aligning themselves with the company, they often leave. I know of companies who are starting today to hire more employees into their workplace, more on who are we, what does our company stand for, what are our values as a company, and how do our employees that come in, how should they align themselves with the company mission and with the company values. And the best example for this is the American company called Zappos that many people know of, that is basically known for this. But I think there's going to be more of this in the future, as the business world seems to be really screaming for more authenticity. And the second part in your question, Petter, was?
Yeah. I also had I was also thinking about how can we build our own brand? What should we look for? Because it's quite we talk about branding, but what should I, like a person, do to start to build my own brand? What should I look for? What should I think about?
Yeah, great question. The first thing, and I actually do teach a book, by the way, the first thing that I tell people to do, and which is really linked to the first step in the 5-step process, is to know, where am I going? What is it that I want to stand for? What is the feeling that I want people to get? Then you can actually start to see, okay, how do I think people see me? And what is it that I most often hear other people say about me? And this is actually an interesting process when you start to dig into those things, because most often, I think most of us have the tendency to say, when people are giving us compliments for something that we're doing, oh, that is nothing. Oh, that's easy. That's nothing. Don't mention that. That's what we say. But actually, if we listen to what people are saying about us, you can see what it is that they see in us. If we really listen to when does someone come to you for something? What is it that they're asking you for? That is your brand. That's what they see. Otherwise, they wouldn't come to you if they didn't think you could deliver what they're saying. I believe that probably there would be very few people who would come for me and ask me for advice for the bookkeeping. I'm not good there. I know I know the theory, but I would give it gladly to someone who loves numbers and all of that thing. That's just not me. But I can promise, however, if I'm working with someone, that I will use every sense in my body to help them identify who they are, and I will use my strength of being creative and being intuitive and being all of the things that I am to help them out, so that they can really shine and they can really build something that at the end of the day will be their legacy, will be the things that people will talk about them when they're not even on this planet anymore. And I see Catherine is asking, any differences between personal and corporate brand? In basics, well, we're talking about a person with a character, and we all have character. And we're talking about a person that we have a voice. And when we put our personal brand and we communicate it with our personal character and our personal voice, that's the personal brand. A corporate brand has a voice as well. A corporate brand has a character as well. But it's more of a concept there. And I often see that, and I know I fell in that trap myself when I was starting one of my businesses, that I talked to my network, to my followers, as if I was a corporation, instead of just talking to them, communicating to them. And now I'm talking about with emails and everything online, instead of talking to them and communicate them as me. And there's a huge difference when we start to do that. It's a huge difference, because people start to relate to us. They start to engage with us, because people like other people, like I talked about before. Any other questions?
Come on, people, you have the possibility to ask questions now, so please do it. Maybe I have some more questions.
You go ahead.
I'm thinking about I think many people want to build their own brand, but they're still struggling for the first step, and they don't know what they should do. The first thing, there's like, you should find your passion, you should find all these things, but what is the first step to do something? What, just from the next hour, what should the people on the line do to start to build their own brand?
That I would look at those 5 steps and think, okay, where do I feel that I can actually write down, where can I write down what are my passions, where am I going, all of the things, the steps, the clarity is involved with, and basically look at all those 5 steps and say, okay, where am I? How do I, if I'm gonna look at clarity, and just give myself, if you can give yourself a grade on the scale of 0 to 10, how clear am I? Go to confidence. How confident am I on the scale of 0 to 10? How well do I communicate my brand? How easy is it for other people to understand me when I communicate myself to others? What it is that I want, and what it is that I'm seeing, and what it is that I'm doing. On the scale to 0 to 10, how easy is it for me to communicate? And same thing you can go with, how consistent am I? Finally, how committed am I to really build my brand? And often I believe that if you don't know anything in the clarity, it's going to be probably difficult to give yourself the grade there in all the others. But I think when you look at the grades that you give you can at least see, okay, where do I need to start? What are the things that I feel that I'm not clear enough on? And from there, you can, I would personally tell people to get someone to help them out there. Because I remember when I was discovering my own brand, it's a process. It's a step-by-step process, and it really helped me out to have a coach with me who was helping me out identifying these things that I know now myself. Because we've been with this person all this life. We don't, I mean, even it sounds strange that we don't know them, but it's just so natural to us. We don't see it. So I have some more. Can you name a couple of people you think have excellent branding, who do it right all the way through? And thank you for that question. Number one, I think that it's part of building your brand is those step-by-steps that you're taking. You're discovering something that yourself in one way or another, and you take that extra step to look at it, just like little babies who are taking one step at a time, and you're thinking, okay, how does this resonate with me? Is this really is this what I want to put the real focus on? And step by step, you really are finding those things that is you, and on the way that is really do it right all the way. I think doing it right all the way is basically doing it up and down. It's just how it is. You're bound to make mistakes. It's just part of it. And the mistakes are something that you will probably learn the most from, is the mistakes that you do. So just being authentic there and just say, okay, now I did something. No, that was not exactly what I was going to do, but hey, I'm going to do that again. A couple of people that have done an excellent branding. Oh my God, there are so many people that are so strong in their branding. I mean, we can talk about the big names. I mean, normally when you talk about personal brand, you talk about Sir Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, you talk about Oprah Winfrey, and you know, the moment I say these names, there's certain things that pops up in your mind. I know that. And here's the thing. Think about what is it you want when someone mentioned your name. What do you want them to think about? So that's probably the steps that you have to think about. And again, like I talked about that feeling. Write down, what is the feeling that I want to give away? And don't just go into, oh, I want the feeling that people think that I'm good, it's nice to be with me, and Why is it nice to be with you? Then go a little bit deeper. Why is it? What is it that you're doing that makes that nice feeling? And why is it important for you to give a nice feeling? So dig. Ask yourself those big questions. That's why it's so good to have a good coach with you, because he will help you and push you a little bit, and it's good to be pushed. I think that, and here we have something from Michael. How do I take the next step? I have the brand and I have a lot of people that trust and like my brand, but I feel stuck to take the next thing to make it economically profitable. Well, Michael, this is a great question, and actually I would like just to talk to you and hear more about what it is that you're exactly doing that could actually take you to the next level. It's difficult for me to say right now. It sounds a bit like what you're stuck is something that is a feeling that you are experiencing that you're stuck with. So it's just overcoming that and seeing where is the clarity that I need to deal with now, and how do I take that next step. So I just encourage you, and you can check me out if you go to my Facebook site or my LinkedIn or Twitter site. Communicate there with me, ask me questions. I will be happy to share as much as I can.
Cool. And I have 2 more questions for you, Runa, before we wrap this up. To go and speak on Elevate.
Yes. What will I speak on?
Why did you say yes to come to speak on Elevate?
Why? Oh my gosh. Speaking of branding, Elevate as a brand is something that has been just so powerful to follow and see what is happening. Me being from Iceland and being in the personal development, personal branding field, I have been searching for a powerful venue that has a Scandinavian background, that has the Scandinavian values enhanced, that I could join and I could be part of. And so Elevate is instantly what I found when I was searching online around a platform such as that. I was resemblance exactly what Elevate is to me. When I saw that the feeling, or felt the feeling that from the videos and from the testimonials and from everything that is there, it just everything told me, yes, this is a place that Scandinavians and outside even Scandinavia can come to, and we can in our own platform, in our own cultures, start to work on ourselves and give ourselves the space to grow as individuals who are the leaders in Scandinavia, so that we, representing our individual countries, can really start to grow both personally, our businesses, and at the same time our communities and our countries.
Thank you. And why should I come to listen to you at Elevate?
Isn't that obvious? See, that's because I'm spontaneous. Now, why should they come to listen to me? Well, I invite you to come to listen to me if you want to gain more clarity, if you want to both learn, have fun, be inspired, and step slightly, just tiny bit outside your comfort zone. But most of all, I invite you to come and listen to me if you are ready to rock and roll and make the most of your life that you have today, you're living today.
Thank you, Runa. And I look so forward to see you and listen to you on Elevate. And I also look so forward for Elevate this year, because this is a conference we have done for 5 years, and we have doubled the number of participants every year. And we are working hard to double it this year also. At least it will be 600, 700, 800 people on Elevate, or we are near 700 already, so between 700 and 800 people. And we have built this like more a networking arena that you will listen to the speaker. I know that you will learn a lot of all the speaker. We have Runa coming. We have another talking about marketing with Rich Sheffrin, who is maybe one of the best guys in the world talking about that. He have teach all these other genius marketing expert around the world how to do it, and they say he looks 2 years in front of everyone else. So and he will come with totally new stuff. And we have some Anders Hagren from Sweden talking about clarity, what you say a lot about, Runa. Mm-hmm. And we have Janet Atwood, we're also a friend with Runa, talking about how to find your real passion in life. And we have so many speakers, and everyone is getting a lot of time on the stage. So it's deep content. But the most important thing why you should come is because you will meet a lot of like-minded people. And if you come to me or someone else or talk about the Elevate conference in 2 years' time, you will talk about the people you met there. And when we have a webinar and you show up like this, I know you are interested, because time is the most precious commodity we have. So we want to give you an offer tonight, which is valid until 12 tonight. If you want to come to the conference, we're going to give you 2 tickets for a price of 1. So if you choose to buy a general gold tickets, is 6,000 kroner, and you get 2 tickets. A VIP is 8,500 Norwegian kroner, and a diamond is 13,000. I really hope to see you on Elevate, and I look forward to see you again, Runa. And you also have a upcoming webinar with us in 1.5 weeks.
Yes.
And it's another topic, isn't it?
Yes, I'm going to share the 12 steps to become known as an awesome personal brand.
That's cool. So check our Facebook page if you want to join that webinar also. And thank you for coming tonight. And if you want to use the offer 2 for 1, just email us and we will fix it for you. So thank you, and thank you again, Runa.
Thank you. All the same. Look forward to seeing you all at the Elevate.
Thank you. Bye.